Okay, this is attempt number 3 at getting this generator running right again. Now in the last video, before I replaced the parts on the starter, it was running fine, and when I started up, it wasn't, as you can see, and that's how the video ended. I played with it, and something was just bogging it down, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't carburetor or anything like that, because all that was running right. Something had happened, or I'm not sure if something went wrong, or I messed up and got it plugged up wrong. All these plugs but 2 are pretty much non-reversible. You can't, it'll only plug into one. It's only got one type of plug for each opposite end that it plugs in, if that makes any sense. I mean, you can't get them wrong. You can get these 2 wrong, and I need to look into that real quick. But so I was thinking, well, maybe it's got a sheared key or something. There's something wrong with the stator, because I wasn't getting any juice out of the outlet. I didn't even check this one, but I did check these. I wasn't getting nothing. I wasn't sure if it was because something was wrong, or it just wasn't running fast enough to generate any current. It should have done something. But I went to take this hub. Here's your hub and your stator. This is the new. These are the new ones, of course. Here's the old one, very filthy. And it might be okay if you clean it up. I just went ahead and bought a new one. This here, I don't know if I already had some crack magnets or if I damaged it taking off. It's very stubborn to take off. I had a puller on it. You're not supposed to tap on them, but I had no choice. It would not break loose. It was bending my puller. It was bending the bolts. It just would not budge, and I had to tap on it, and finally it broke loose, but all the magnets were messed up, so I had to order that. Now I got these through, what's the name of these people? Parts Pit Stop. That's where I went through. Total was $404. $218 for the stator, $153 for the rotor. Now I've seen other websites that were similar to this. Now the website that I got my starter parts off of, I looked at it, and it was like $260 for the stator and $180 to anywhere from $180 to $218 for the rotor. So shop around for your parts. So I didn't show the removal of this. As you can see, you got to get all this off. You got to put a puller on it. There are some holes for a puller right here. So I'm going to put all this on. And the new one, stator, comes with a new plug, so that's good. And you can unplug the old harness right like this. I unplugged one of them right there. So I'm going to put this on, and we'll see if it runs better. I'm going to double check my connections here. I'm going to try plugging everything in without putting even the frame on like I did last time, just so I can see if it runs right before I put it together again. So let me put that on and we'll see. Okay, when comparing the old one to the new one, everything matches up, but I do notice a difference. It looks like they did not put the I didn't get the spacers or whatever they are in the new one. So I'm hoping I can knock this one out. The new one has these, but let's see if I can knock that one out and put it in the right position. Oops, okay, they just look like that when they come out. And you got a flat, and it should go right there. Find something to tap on that with. It won't hurt it. How about that? That'll work. And right across from it, you got that one. Then you got these that seem to be reversed the other way. I guess that's correct. Okay, let's see how this fits. I think that my wiring has to go down here, and then it comes up through there. Drawing a few bolts down and see. Make sure we get it started straight. I'm not going to tap it on, I'm just going to let my bolts pull it into place. Sure we ain't pinching no wiring here. That seems to be clearing everything. Since those inserts act like dowel pins, I don't have to worry. I can tighten 2 of them just to make sure it's going to seat up right. I think it's good and square. Try this. Felt like it was already on there flush. I did those 2 first that had the dowel part of the insert sticking out. Tighten them first. And I was hoping that when I tighten this down I didn't see it cock or move. Yeah, I think it's in there good and flush. Should be. Alright, now that the stator is on, before we put the drum on, I believe that I need to put this mount for the coil on, and that is what holds your wiring harness out of the way after the drum's on. It goes, here's your mounting hose for the mount for the coil, and maybe this tab kind of slides in there. This thing kind of traps it up against the block, but it doesn't pinch it, and you can just put it on like that. And that keeps, I was wondering about that, what keeps the harness from rubbing the drum. I'm pretty sure it goes like that so that that doesn't happen. I should have taken pictures or at least made a video, even if it wasn't for YouTube, made a video of me taking this apart. Something I need to start doing when I'm taking apart stuff that I've never worked on before. Sometimes it's handy on stuff that you think you're familiar with. There we go, and that keeps, and that doesn't pinch it. You can move it a little bit, but it keeps it away from the drum. Because if I had it routed up through here, that would rub the drum. So now, that. Now we can stick our drum on it. See some metal shavings from my puller. Get all those guys out of there. Let's see how awkward this would be. Keyway's right about there. These magnets are pretty strong, so we'll be ready for that. Get a flashlight. There it is. Hard to see that keyway. I'm sure all you can see is my bald spot. Okay. But be careful, magnets can be broken. And I don't want to ruin my $118 drum. Brand new shiny drum. metal up in there, blocking my view of the keyway. I think I'm almost there. Okay. 3/4 socket fits it. It may be metric, but 3/4 fits it just fine. I would assume everything's metric on this thing. Take it off and make sure. I just kind of drawed it up against the key, I think. Might have to align it. Yeah, it needs to be aligned a little more. Let's see. See if I can move it like this. I don't like that. Let's try this. That might be it. Just gently snug it. Don't really like rubbing them magnets like that. I don't think it'll hurt it. There we go, it's getting better as it draws on there straighter. The farther down it goes, the deeper on the taper it goes and the straighter it gets. Now it's get some rubbing there. Probably shouldn't be doing that. It's going on. Make sure I don't have my screwdriver in too deep as I'm drawing this thing in. I think it's bottomed out, rotating freely except for the drag on the magnets. You'll feel some, shouldn't feel a lot. There's probably a torque spec for this, but I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way. Do this with my left or right shoulder. Still hurts when I do certain things. It's getting better. Let's try this. Oh, it's so awkward to not have full use of your right arm. There we go. I think it'll be tight enough. Now, coil. Okay, I got my bolts snugged down. I'm going to loosen just enough so I can move this thing. I'm going to stick a feeler gauge up in here. Push it up against it. And I'm using 11,000s. You want to shoot for 10, but usually when I do it this way, when you tighten the bolts, it gets it really tight against the feeler gauge. And it kind of works out about right. I'm going to put some, now that I can slide it in and out, I'm just going to put some pressure with my thumb on this coil up against the feeler gauge in the drum. I'm going to tighten my bolts down. And what I'm hoping, this bolt head here is kind of damaged. I long as it holds my coil, that's all that matters. I'm hoping I can get that out of there. Came out a little easier than I wanted it to. I think it'll be fine. We'll see. Okay, so now I believe this fits on just like that, and then your dog assembly is what holds it on. A piece of something in there. I think it just looked like cardboard. And this just goes over top of it. Hopefully I got the right length bolts. I don't get all my bolts mixed up and everything. Let's get this tied. Go ahead and snug the other one down. Spins. Have to go too crazy with these little boats. Kind of awkward. You got to hold it with one hand and tighten it with the other. There we go. Okay, we got this part figured out. It's a lot easier to take off without removing a bunch of stuff than it is to put on. I ended up removing the air filter assembly, and the reason I had to do that is it goes in and out pretty easy now. It's because this right here fits around the carburetor, a plate that goes behind the carburetor, and this window here is for that harness grommet, which you can't reach behind the air cleaner assembly box, whatever you want to call it. And when you do all that, it pretty much falls into place. There we go. I think we're flush up against it now. Probably, I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing here. Let me find all my bolts and put them in. And you also have engine mounts. Stud. One stud goes down in the frame. And then you got, I got it on upside down. The short stud goes in the frame. There we go. Goes like that. Got a little hook right there. It fits into this hole if you can see it. I don't know if you can. But if you can get it, your engine to move enough. Yeah, it's best to get these lined up before you put any bolts in for sure. There we go. Here's my other mount. It's pretty much the same way. Yeah, it's best to put them in before you put any bolts into your cover there. This is not a fun little gem to work on, that's for sure. Now I'm going to put all them bolts in. See, I got a nut. Got nuts to go through the bottom. You got nuts to hold the housing to the mounts. Then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts that hold the housing to the engine. 2 down here, 4 up top. So I'm going to do all that off camera, and I'm going to make sure it spins, put my carburetor box back on it, and then I'm going to try to plug everything in without putting that brace in and see if we can get the turnover and start and see how it acts. It is Friday, September 2nd, several weeks later from when this video started, and I had it back together, and it still ran funny, and then it straightened up, and then it started running funny again, and on and off, on and off. So I looked into it and played around with some stuff, and I decided to go ahead and order a actual Honda carburetor with the correct eco throttle switch on it, which plugs into my original harness. And while I was at it, I got the correct fuel feed line, because I had just a regular universal fuel line, but it was it doesn't have the bend, and it kind of kinked up on me. And I also got a new isolator plate. The old one is in here and it's broken, so I decided to order that too, and we'll see how that does. I think that I had put my isolator plate in backwards, and it was in a bind and not seating the carburetor up against the gasket, and that's why I was running weird. And I did not really realize that until I had broken it. So I'm going to put these new parts on. We'll see what it does. I think it's going to do fine now. Hopefully we'll finally get this, and we'll put an end to this nightmare. So I'm going to put this stuff on, and I'll just show you how it runs. Oh, and before I put them all on, I want to go over where I bought everything. Found everything on eBay. This is a Honda carburetor. The box is right here. And well, my printer, my invoice printer is printing very small. Total is, oh my God, I can barely see it even with my reading glasses. Total is 105 and some change. It was like 90 bucks plus shipping, but you do get the new solenoid. I know it's a little pricey compared to the cheap China ones, but the China ones act up. But Honda is, I think, Japan. So, and the fuel line was $6.40 something after shipping, I think, and about 18 bucks and some change for the isolator plate after shipping. So there's all that. Found it on eBay. Don't ask me to send you a link. Go on eBay and search for it. It'll pop right up. People act like I'm a Google service sometimes. Send me a link. Alright, I've already had it started this morning. I think I've got it. Every time I think I got it, I'll change something, or not change something, but go to try to put it the rest of the way together, and it'll act up again. But I'm on echo throttle right now. See what I mean? Now I had it together last night, and it was very stubborn to start, and it was just running wide open, like the eco throttle switch wasn't working and just letting it dump wide open. And I found out this morning that my plug wasn't slid all the way in. That plugs the eco throttle switch into the back of this thing right here. And I figured that out, and that looked good, so I went ahead and took the bolts off the top of the carburetor. I didn't have the air box on it, the filter box. Put all that on, and it acted stupid again, and then I ended up adjusting. There's a little black screw. Grab my flashlight here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but there is a black screw up in there, and I don't know if you can see that. These things, you have no access to anything on these things. But behind, oh, let's see. Let me get something to point at it with. See that black screw? It's right here. I don't know how well you can see. It's up in there, and in the only way you can get to it while it's this much together, I ended up drilling a hole right here, and then the screwdriver can reach it. And when you have the echo throttle on and it is working, if you back the screw out, it will slow the idle down, and if you turn it in, it will speed it up. But after playing with it, it got better. But I'm still not 100% sure this thing is right, because it seems like after you let it sit overnight, it gets stubborn again. So let's try this again. It's definitely got to be choked, no matter what you do. Should not be idle that way. So, yeah, right now it's acting like the eco throttle is on constantly. I don't know what else. There you go. It sticks. Stick. So I may end up putting the old switch on there. I don't know. We'll run it for a while and see if it gets better. I'm gonna go ahead and put it all together and call it done. And I think I'll just let it run for a couple hours and see if all that gets better. Right now it's working. Well, as you can see, when I first started it up, it's like it was sticky. So it didn't want to work right at first. It acted like the eco throttle was on, even though it was off. Then turned it on, of course no change. Then I turned it off, and it finally was out. I gotta admit, I've gotten to the point where I want to take a sledgehammer to this thing, but I'm gonna try it. So. Alright, so once you get it started and it straightens up, and it does act up at first, it seems okay once it straightens up and runs. I'm just going to go throw it all together. So I'm tired of fooling with it. I don't know what else to do with it. And I'm just going to let it run. I don't have to go racing today, or I don't get to go racing today. I shouldn't say have to. they're calling rain on and off. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll get this going and we'll just let it run and get some other things done, and I'll get it all together and show it running one more time, and that'll be it. Okay, here goes nothing. Been sitting for a little while, all together. Echo throttle, eco throttle. I keep calling it echo. It's eco, I think. Eco throttle off. It'll pull the choke out. So that's what this thing wants, no matter how warm it is. Right, not acting up like it did first thing this morning. I'll know for sure after it sets overnight, and I'll start it up tomorrow morning. I think I got it. Sounding pretty good. Nice and quiet. Even with that low idle, seems to run stuff okay. Last time I had it running this good, if you remember, we had to make more videos because the starter dogs broke. But all that's in there new, as fragile as the setup is for that. Much better. Alright, so I'm going to let this thing run 3 or 4 hours for quite a while. Just let it run. It needs to. It's been sitting way too long. And we'll see how it does. I'll stick it back in the trailer, and if I get to race next week, we'll try it out. And I'll just use it for a while. And I think eventually it's going to either get mounted, not mounted, but tied down in the back of the truck, or I may mount it to the tongue of the enclosed trailer and get a cover for it. That way I don't have to be dragging it in and out of the trailer whenever I use it. I just want to use it for a while and make sure it's not going to give me any more trouble. So that's it. Thanks for watching.